Hello and welcome once again to Wandering Monster America's tabletop showcase, where we endeavor to show you how the games you're interested in play mechanically and narratively. My name is John Baldisberger.
I'm Bridget Brave.
Kevin Welch.
Ian Servas.
I'm Mr. Paschke.
We're going to have to tell Mr. Bernard that he can't miss any more days because he just throws off our whole thing here. That was rough. So, we are in between campaigns at the moment. Very shortly, I think last week of Bridget and Ian, we're off doing romantic bullshit. Hey, speaking of Ian, how did your romantic bullshit go? Any news? Anything interesting happened with that?
Great success. So
You want to tell the listener who doesn't know you personally what that great success is?
Oh, I was just waiting for everyone to stop laughing. So I proposed to my significant other, and she accepted, acquiesced, agreed. So I am engaged, betrothed.
Congratulations,
That's
Ian. We are
indeed.
She has not yet seen this episode, though, so she hasn't seen the great success clip. So
No,
we'll
no.
just,
So,
we'll
Yeah,
just
she
wait.
may just know me at that point.
Yeah.
You never know. She could just be like, very nice.
Very nice.
Tune in next week while we console Ian after she leaves for that joke. No, we're all very excited for Ian.
It's fair.
I'm also really excited because we decided instead of just taking another couple of weeks off while we get the next campaign ready, we're going to kind of go back to the format of playtesting something that is more of a one-shot or two-shot, as the case may be. This week specifically, we are playing, I brought it out just for this, Trophy Dark. Holy shit, I love this system. I love this setting. Trophy is a game about being doomed. It is a game where the basic conceit is that you are adventurers going into a forest to do treasure hunting or beast hunting, and the forest hates you. The forest is an ancient intelligence that arrays its powers against you to subsume you, to join you into its leafy grasp, and you're doomed. This is a game specifically for doomed adventurers. It feels a little bit like John Carpenter's The Thing, or some of the more bleak apocalyptic movies. I love it. I adore it. It's right up my alley, and I want to stop talking so we can start playing. Ian, take it away.
Absolutely. It's very much too, if you've liked all of the Morkborg that we've run, it's like Morkborg, but it's more deadly because Morkborg, it's intended for you to survive at least till the end of the world. Here, you're almost guaranteed to die. So that is a great shoe-in for our characters to introduce themselves. We will need the most doomed individual, of course, to go first in honor of Charles the First.
I nominate Kevin.
I don't like the way that's
bargain.
starting.
Yeah, that was assigned pretty quickly.
Yeah. Jeez.
I was thinking of doom metal, and I think Kevin likes doom metal.
Yeah,
that
that's
was my connective tissue there.
All right. I'll let it slide this time. I am playing Akela. He is an injured whaler, real gruff, real briny kind of guy, scarred up and down his body, eye patch that seems to shift possibly depending on when you're seeing him at certain times of day, like how you put the visor down in the car, like when the sun's hitting your eye. Anyways, peg leg, real just booming voice. He is an injured whaler. He was part of a whaling crew until the first mate on the ship Gosh, what was his name? Fluff Bucket. He got him got the ropes for the mast wrapped around his leg due to Fluff Bucket's leading the whole crew, and ripped his leg right off. And he's like, I'm done. I'm out. And he's gonna do it on his own. And he needs the Scratch to do it. So treasure hunting is the path he's going down.
All right, I guess I'll go next. I'm Kel. I'm a lancer, so I'm all about the precision kills. I am an unmasked Feyborn. I don't want to talk about my drive right now. You'll find out what's driving me. And I should just mention that according to all my documentation, I am hot as shit. So just keep that in mind when you're dealing with me.
Yeah, but what about your character? What do they look like?
Yeah, you're almost a married stud. Calm
That's
down.
Now I see why she said yes, man. It's so smooth, so smooth. I'm talking about my character.
I enjoy on paper, I'm extremely sexy. What about in person?
Sexy.
On paper, I'm extremely sexy. All right, I'll go ahead and go next, so that Patchkey can keep his place of honor as the last speaker of the house. I'm Moradi. I'm a sellsword mercenary. I've fought in wars. I've gone on hunting expeditions, and the truth is I've seen more than my fair share of shit. I'm done killing, for the most part. I want to show that I can be more than a murderer, more than some piece of scum shit. I want to become a knight. I want to have a station, a home. And so I'm joining these hunters into a trek into the fucking forest of all places so that I can prove my worth as a fighter and a defender. And that's me, Maradi, the sellsword.
Yes, that leaves me. Let me just... Guys, it's just really nice to be here with all you guys. I really appreciate being around. I really appreciate everyone here. Hi. Anyways, I gotta tell you what I'm driven about, because it really matters to me, and it's the most important thing that I impress the governor of Fort Durhan. Durhan. Anyways, I noticed that you noticed the hair. Don't worry about that. There's some. It will get thicker. Don't worry about that right now. It doesn't matter right now. Anyways, hi. My name is Valen. I am the best boy here. I want you to know that. So I'm not.
Are you a dog?
No, I'm not a dog.
Oh,
Very
interested.
But I am the best boy here. I have command skills. I can lead the pack, as it were.
You're not convincing me you're not a dog.
Look, what's the setting currently? Is it daytime or nighttime? This matters for me.
Oh no.
It's currently daytime.
Yeah, I'm a human. I am totally a human.
Oh, I love it.
You know it's daytime, although it's beginning to feel less and less like that. The lot of you have been marching and trudging through this dark and gloomy forest. You notice as this path that you are taking is progressively leading you into just darker and darker canopies. There are little shafts of lights penetrating the trees, but you notice that all of these twisted and gnarled oak trees and elders and sycamores are beginning to become more gangly, and the ground underneath you becomes more marshy. You find yourself standing at the edge of the gloaming mire, a mangrove-dense fen that is rumored to hold the flocculent cathedral. It's here that you are hoping to find all of the treasures and riches that will fulfill all of those desires that have gone unfulfilled through your careers. The air itself is beginning to be quite thick with the scent of hummus and mulch and loam and dankness. As you begin to walk into the fen, you see that there are two desiccated corpses that sit across from one another atop a flat rock, the rotted remains of a picnic lunch laid out between them. Each of them has a hand placed in the other's mouth, which is filled with a fistful of loamy soil.
John,
Well-
you're on mute.
Oh,
How long does it look like they've been dead?
Are you taking a look at them or the food in front of them?
Them.
So
Good
these
question,
are desiccated. Their skin is stretched tight to the bone. Their eyes have shrunken to little raisin-like things. It itself is kind of hard to tell because it looks like they've been baking out in the desert for a long time with the dirt just crumbling out of their vacuous mouths. The food in front of them looks like it's maybe a week old at the most.
that's not a great sign.
Beyond them, there's a path that goes deeper into the fen.
Do you think we could get Goodest Boy to sniff the food?
I was just looking at my character sheet to see if I have like a sniffing ability because I am not used to this game engine yet. I just say that I feel like I can sniff?
So in this, and for the gentle listener, there are kind of atypical skills. Each character has a background and an occupation that gives them skills. Skills are only factored into when you're making rolls of significance where there is risk of harm or sanity to yourself. Any other action you can basically achieve as long as it's within reason without needing to roll. So you can certainly, as a Goodest Boy, give this a big sniff, but it's only if you were doing something that was more dangerous that you may actually have to roll and calculate dice, like eating their food, etc., etc.
Okay, yeah, I will definitely give a sniff. Do we eat their food? It's there.
No.
Absolutely
Ah.
not.
No.
Valen, my boy, no. That's I don't think that's a good idea at all.
Oh, all right.
When you
So-
lean forward, you get the smell of some type of cured meat. You can see that the salt in this was not enough to keep all the putrescence away. There are what looks to be like maggots or worms of some kind that you don't exactly identify that are tunneling in and out of a wedge of cheese and nibbling away at some very squishy looking fruit. So squishy you can't quite tell if it was a apple or if it was a peach, but it is fuzzy with mold and it is riddled with crawling things.
So it's now high in protein.
Mm-hmm. Aside from the bodies and the food, is there anything else around? Anything that would jump out at us?
Certainly
Literally.
not literally. Yeah.
Or literally, I don't know.
From here, if you are looking down the path, you can very faintly detect the sounds of thumping, tapping, maybe voices. And you'd think you might see a flicker of light deeper into the fen.
Well, we can't help these guys. Further down the path.
Yeah, that's looking like our best option.
Yeah. Do I
Mhm.
smell anything that way?
You do. You smell lots of man things, although they don't smell quite right. But it's hard to tell what is wrong with the people that are you're smelling in the distance versus what's wrong everything around you. You can feel the forest itself leaning in, as if when you are taking a sniff, you feel like these giant mangroves and other spindly trees woven within are leaning forward and smelling you back.
I don't like that at all.
Mm-mm.
Has anyone marked it? I'm sorry. I don't want to ask, but I feel compelled to ask.
Are you looking at the trees or smelling the trees for marks?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of trees as you're in a forest.
Mhm.
The first three that you lean in to get a whiff would just have the smell of dirt. One clearly has the smell of urine on it, and it's sickly sweet.
Diabetic. Okay, I pee on the diabetic's pee.
Their dominance.
Yeah.
You hear the branches and the tree above you creaking and groaning. The other trees that are around you are also beginning to sway and creak and groan.
It's cool. You're mine now.
In the distance, there is a panicked bird that squawks.
Are you sure you should be peeing on that?
I pee on lots of things. It hasn't
That
stopped
don't
me
make
yet.
it right, does it?
Doesn't make it wrong.
He does have
You
a
know what? I
point.
can't argue with that, actually.
Yeah.
That's very smart. We ought to maybe figure out where we're trying to go, though. What we actually want to accomplish. I'm here to keep you lot alive.
No. Treasure, of course.
Each of you have heard a different rumor about this place and the Flocculent Cathedral. You've heard it in Baudry taverns. You've heard it whispered in market stalls. Very few people venture out this way, so surely there must be treasure. But what treasure have you heard is to be found here?
Big ball. The ball it was thrown?
Okay.
I have a suspicion that there is old ruins buried underneath the loam in this kind of swampy area that that holds a immortal goose that lays golden eggs.
Yeah, and I also heard that those eggs could help you take control of something if there was something you wanted to take control of. So
Mind control gold eggs. It's my indie band project.
it's a good project.
I like that. Yeah. I heard that there's so many of these golden eggs that it'll easily finance my expedition to the Blossoming Sea and then some. So I'm looking to get as many of these as possible.
And
Fund my
not to put too
excursion.
fine of a point on this, eggs are kind of ball shaped.
I was thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to point out that I'm not planning on killing everyone else when we find the eggs. That's definitely not something
That
I'm
is
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you just vocalize that
Super
out loud,
comforting.
or is that an internal thought?
It's just something I kind of said underneath my breath.
And I'm not going to chase the geese around.
It's good to have goals going into these
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
The other question I have for you is that you are in search of this mythical goose laying eggs that's in a swamp, basically. This mangrove dense, marshy mire. Do you feel like people have been telling you the truth? about the treasure?
I do not.
Oh, I mean, being on the sea for as long as I have, you do hear a tall tale or two. But I mean, where's the fun in just letting it go by without checking it out?
It doesn't matter either way, really.
I do not, but I found mention of this in a journal of a dead man, and I trust the dead.
I mean,
I'm
it's
glad
not
that you'll be able
likely.
to trust your heart.
It's not likely that this is a thing that could be held behind someone's back as they pretended that there would be a thing there. So it's got to be real.
Sorry.
Alan, you're such a good boy.
Such a good boy.
You're such a good boy.
So the one thing is, despite how dark and primordial this forest is, there is still a very clearly defined path that winds its way through. Almost suspicious that the forest itself hasn't reclaimed it. But you can see that there is a path that leads you decidedly deeper into the gloaming mire.
If you're done with with that, I kind of jerk my head towards the path. That seems like as good a way as any.
I'll lead the way, my boy.
As you are bounding down this trail, or at least I'm imagining the goodest boy bounds instead of just walks, the first thing that you notice is that the path opens into like a little bit of a glen. If a glen is kind of in, again, like a mangrove swamp, around this glen, you see that there is a ancient but still standing well of rough but carefully fit moss-covered stones. For you and your sensitive good boy nose, there is a powerful smell of damp mold that rises from it. And you can see that there's something squirming in the shadows that are cast by these standing stones. Beyond it, the path leads deeper into the woods, and you hear, again, the echoing sounds of voices. You're pretty sure that they might be songs.
Okay. Is there anything on the stones, like writing or anything?
The exteriors that you can see from your vantage point, all the outside facing, are completely encrusted with moss and also various forms of hairy lichen. You would need to scrape the moss away to see if there's something of significance.
I'll scrape it away. See if there's something on there.
As you begin to scrape off of this, there are odd carvings that make the little pit of your stomach squirm just a bit. What graven images or runes do you find enscrawled on the stone that you have scraped?
It's hard to really tell what they are exactly, but they give me this feeling of just being back on the whaling ship with the swells coming up and over the sides of the boat, and just give me that even though I've been on the seas for more years than I can think of, it that gives you that seasick feel, like you could just retch at any time.
I have the skill Saints as a failed pilgrim. I'm assuming that these sigils and runes are some kind of holy marking, so I would like to actually make a roll to try to discern what it is.
So you know that when you play or you interact with these ancient things, there's always a risk. And so by tapping into them, that would actually be our first roll for the evening, a risk roll, as you try to really discern the form and function of these. So you have at least one die that you can roll from your saint skill.
Mm-hmm.
if you want to push your sanity further and add a dark die, you're more than welcome to do that. And for people unfamiliar with Trophy Dark, one of the interesting functions to facilitate co-storytelling is that either the GM or the players can also offer a devil's bargain. They can offer freely a player an extra die to roll for their roll, but at a set cost. So, and that can also, even before that's accepted, other players can engage in conversation with that until the bargain is final and then the roll is made. So right now, TLDR, you are standing at 1 die to roll.
Does anyone have any weird bargain they want to offer me? Any give and take?
I will always if no one else does, but I want to make sure.
I'll throw in if you after we get all these goose eggs, if you'll join me on my quest and help finance this expedition of mine.
I'm going to just do as a quick interjection. So this is something that's actually done out of character per se as a game mechanism. Now, so you
like, for instance, you might say, okay, you can have an extra die, but reading this might cause you to go blind for a number of rounds.
It would have to be a definite cost. You would have to go blind for so many rounds. Right, for example, or people can also kind of tailor it. Now, to your point, though, you could say, I will help you in whatever role, because players can also help each other as much as they can hinder each other by also their character offering to roll a die with them to help them. And they may take or want to bargain for that.
Oh.
That's a shared danger. So 2 sides of the same coin.
All right. So with that in mind, does anyone have a way this can fuck me over that they would like to offer me to get more dice? Or yeah.
No one else? I do.
Okay. I mean,
go for it.
I'll give you a die, but you're just as sick to your stomach as I am from looking at the etchings.
Some nausea.
Heavy nausea.
I'm going to make that lean in and say it's going to be projectile vomiting, which is going to be like a condition.
Okay. I'd say.
Okay. Gain a condition.
Or you're just nauseous for the rest of the adventure.
I will gladly take a condition to get an extra die.
Okay. So this, I'm going to have it be that it is.
And so everyone else knows while he's saying that, the adventures come with suggested conditions that kind of go hand in hand with the incursions, but you can also, as always, do your own shit.
Absolutely. So I'm going to lean into that C thing, and it's going to be pervasive nausea, because that could be triggered by the various things as you go deeper into the swamp.
Lovely. And I am now rolling my 2 die. That is a 2 and a 5.
Okay. So you succeed, but there's a complication. What complication could go wrong from reading runes and tapping into these?
On top of the nausea, I experience a vision of Bridget, what's your character's name?
Kel.
I have a vision of Kel slitting the goodest boy's throat.
But also, I want it noted that in that vision, I appear as like yassified Legolas. Like that's
Okay.
That's how hot we're talking. Is like, yeah.
Yeah.
So you tap into these stones. As you look at the first stone that was scraped by Akale, you are it's racked with this intense nausea, part of it being the rune itself. The other is that you are pulling and feeling the depth and the ancient history of this, plus the scent of just mold and moss that is radiating over these stones. You get glimpses as you close your eyes and you put out your feeling. Your skill is saints, and indeed, these stones are connected to saints. You see little ghostly images as you look at them. Their features are very vague and hazy, but you know distinctly that each and every one of them sees you. These eyeless features have their faces latched onto you. In the distance, you see a great tower. It is mournful. It is jutting out of the moss, and you feel something within. So, with your skill, you know that these are some kind of markers, and from your background, that this is part of a holy trek to a cathedral. This is sacred ground.
I and spit a wad of phlegm off to the side as I kind of brace myself against the stone. We're on the right path.
You doing
We're
all right
going the
there,
right
boy?
way.
You're looking a little pale.
Oh, I shoot Kel a distrustful look. It's nothing. Let's go.
All right.
Anybody else wanting to interact with these stones or the things squirming in the shadows?
Oh, I'll sniff the stones.
So when you lean in, you can see in the shadow, it's already dark here, but the shadows that the stones cast. And within the shadows of this, you see that there are fat violet slugs that just line the backside of the stone that are squirming in the shadows. And you see one that is this reaching itself out to feast upon the goblet of phlegm that Mordai had just thrown down.
Okay. Does it smell like, poisonous?
It smells like decay.
Good decay or bad decay? Because,
Bad.
sometimes it's got to rot a little bit before it gets real tasty.
No. This is more of a slow glacial decay, like the void in the form of scent, the inevitable decay that comes for us all and gnaws on our bones.
So not
That
the good kind. Okay.
Not good kind.
I will leave it alone.
All right. The sounds are in the distance they're not necessarily getting louder, but they're getting a little bit more frantic.
Like they're agitated?
Well, how the sound bounces up past all these trees, it's very distorted, but it's
Okay.
definitely more up tempo and irregular than it was before.
Well, Mordai said that we're on the right path, so
I guess we keep forging forward.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Only if you want riches.
So you begin to meander through almost kind of like a maze through these mangrove trees. As the path continues, it seems to wind in a serpentine fashion as if to kind of confuse and bewilder you. After a bit of time, you really have a hard time remembering which way is north, and you don't have enough light through the canopy to really give you any good indication of that. The thing you do know is the more that you walk on this path, the more that noise swells, and decidedly it is a gaggle of voices. Sounds like they are singing songs and shanties. You see a feeble little campfire in the distance that they are reveling around. You know that there is no path that you can take that won't take you right through their little encampment.
We should go make
Do
friends.
they do they look like they are pilgrims, or do they look like they are soldiers? What can I discern from like the gear and general outfits?
So you're getting close enough to get a good view of them.
I have the skill surprise, which I am going to take to mean I have experience ambushing
I
and
have a
sneaking up
better
on.
idea.
Oh,
I'm going to remove my right arm and both of my eyes, okay? And I'm going to put those eyes in between the fingers on that arm and kind of move forward so that I can peek at this camp.
I love that. So that is a hold on. That is a ritual of yours.
Yes.
So I'd like you to describe how that ritual works for you, and then make your risk roll.
Okay, so the way it works is I take a tiny silver flute out of my bag and I play the flute. It plays a little merry little doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and then as soon as that's done, I take out a giant cleaver and hack off my arm, screaming the entire time. It takes several hacks to get my arm off.
don't shoot too loud. They'll notice you.
I love this.
Remove both of my eyes, which also looks incredibly painful, and complete this, and then kind of slump off to the side as my arm slithers off. So let's see how this goes.
Okay, so you have the one die from your skill. What any other dice that you would like to add?
Let's see.
So, for example, I would say that you should also roll a dark die, because you are
Okay.
risking your
I am
bodily
risking my
integrity
body, yeah.
and your sanity with that ritual. For if you would like a devil's bargain, you lose one of your eyes or gain a condition from the table.
I would suggest that you don't lose the eye, but something comes back with it.
Ooh.
And a piece of the forest gets into your skull through your
Ooh.
eye,
I
meaning
love
that
it.
even though you don't have all that ruin yet, the forest can already whisper to you.
Ooh.
That is my devil's bargain I offer ye.
All
That's a
right.
hell of a bargain.
Yeah, I like that one.
All right, so then add another light die to your roll.
Okay. Is that it?
So then you roll those 3 dice now.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I was just wondering
Okay.
if there was anything else that got added in.
Oh, sure.
All right, so 633.
Which color was the 6?
The 6 is white.
Okay. Makes a difference for the gentle listener. If 6s are a grand success, and if it happens to be a dark die, then they get a point of ruin and a condition.
Oh, that would have been sucky.
Oh yeah, but if you don't like the result of what you roll, you can re-roll by adding another dark die to the pool, and so on. As much risk as you want to gather.
I think I'm good now.
Absolutely. So When you sclump your arm and eyes over in that direction, you feel the forest tugging at your arm, and you feel something happening to your arm. You're not exactly sure. There's something kind of brushes over one of your eyes. It's fine, probably, right? Perfectly fine.
I'm sure it's good.
Perfectly fine. You see that there is a gang of forest bandits that are here. They are filthy and degenerate, but they look well fed. You know instinctively, uncannily, from the whispering that is beginning to thread through your ears, that the forest provides, but for a price. You can see that they have mismatched pieces of Kingsguard regalia and different gear. These are very hard-worn folks. They also appear to be a little bit sauced as they are dancing around the fire, passing around a jug and singing songs about people who have gone into this gloaming mire in search of treasure.
What do you tell us, Kel?
So the arm, so the arm is made it back. Okay. So the arm is back. And the way I reattach it is while I'm like all hunched over and like breathing hard and clearly in a lot of pain. I take out the little flute. I play a little song again. And the arm and the eyes just magically reattach themselves in a flash of light. And it looks like nothing had happened.
Tell me how that infection of the forest looks. I have a kind of a fun idea that it might be like a walnut is now in place in your socket, but you tell me.
Like just like rings for a tree in there. I like the walnut idea. I was also going to suggest that it gives me some little tendrils outside of my eye here, which irritatingly makes my character even hotter, just in a new and different way.
We'll say then that it's not you have your eye perfectly intact, but you just instead of having a nice wing on the side of your eye, it's like a leaf and it just begins to grow from there.
Nice.
So like each time we go through one of the rings of the scenes, I want you to describe how the plant has grown and how it's
excellent.
overtaking your or framing your beautiful fey visage.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth mentioning, or maybe Ian, this might be a good question for you.
Sure.
Do we know? Have enough people made it back alive from the forest to know that it corrupts? Do we know, like, oh, this is a corruption that the forest does, or do we just think that this was kind of some magic that she was doing, and that's just normal?
Everyone is afraid of the forest. It doesn't matter if you're going through the Gloaming Mire, if you're going through the Feywood Heights, wherever it is, there is corruption, and only desperate, doomed souls such as yourself go in here in search of treasure.
Ugh.
So you're just like, that's not good. But
yeah, okay. And I already don't trust Kel.
I don't know why.
I don't like attractive people. They make me feel inferior. Oh, sorry. My character doesn't trust Kel for a different reason. That's
John. Are any of you getting close, like engaging, or are you keeping at a distance and just listening to their songs?
Let's I am wearing armor, so I might be a little too noisy to get over there, but we should sneak up. We should sneak up, find out how inebriated they are. If they're drunk enough, we can wait till they pass out, sneak through unmolested. If they're not going to, then maybe they're drunk enough that we can slit their throats before they can fight back.
Slit their throats like the goodest boy?
No one's going to touch the goodest boy. No one.
Why would you say anything about the goodest boy? Look at him.
I don't know how to feel about this. I was hoping we could be friends with all of them.
All right, Baines. Unfortunately, I don't think they want to be our friends. I happen to know a thing or two about bandits. They eat people and dogs. Shh, 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 shh.
Easy.
Save it for when we attack.
Okay. Is the moon up yet?
Um,
Just curious.
So yeah, I want to. How inebriated do they seem, Kel? Do they? Can we wait them out, or should we take them to Pain Town?
Let's say mid-sized city tavern at about 9:30. About that level of drunk.
All right. May not be drunk enough yet then.
They are drunk enough
Well-
to sing and dance. So
I mean, who isn't? What do you guys think?
Well, I know sneaking isn't my forte. Kind of passes peg leg and everything. I mean, waiting them out is just gonna take that much longer for me to get those golden eggs and everything. We'll give them a little bit, see what the hell happens, and if we gotta cut some throats, we gotta cut some throats.
It's my life philosophy right there.
mhm.
Yeah, so I think we're going to try to wait them out. See if they pass out and fall asleep on their own.
Is that what the group does?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have a skill that says commands, so if I was commanded to wait them out, I feel like I have to because I'm gonna use that skill.
Well, that's ordering commands, not taking. Well, I mean, you
It just says commands.
That's true. The skills in this game are left open-ended, so they could be exploited and used however the player wants.
If you need someone to get up really high, command me to do it. I have to.
Oh, that's good to know.
Just metagaming here. It's a skill.
It's just co-GMing is what it is. So you hunker down, or I guess, where do you hunker down so you're out of sight, but still enough that you can kind of hear and monitor them?
Just off to the side of the path, maybe?
Behind a mangrove.
So these men, as you're watching them, they are getting drunker and drunker the more that you wait. They are passing around this heavy jug. You can hear the sloshing kind of get more and more diminished as they're passing it around. As a quick bit of storytelling, what sign, as you're looking at these figures, and you can see as they add more wood to the fire, you can see their features more. What is it about their appearance that you notice that living on the edge of the mire takes its toll on how they dwell? In what way has living here aged and damaged and warped them that city life never would?
All of them have bits of vegetation growing on them. Like a turtle that lives in a lake might start growing moss and lichen on its back.
Mhm.
These guys have like mossy growth and like twigs and branches jutting from their skin in
I
places.
don't know why that should say anything about their character.
What if it is slime mold instead of moss?
That'd be gross. Is what if?
Anything else from everyone else?
They have obnoxious hats, like baseball caps that have like annoying catchphrases. So like, yeah, I drank all the milk.
I would wear that at Batchkey.
I totally would too.
I would absolutely wear. Yeah, I drank all the milk hat.
Yeah, I drank all the ellipses milk.
I like that because if they lived in the city, someone would have been like, "Dude, you can't Don't wear that hat. But they don't, so they have terrible fashion taste.
So, as they are getting more drunk, they sing more of these songs and shanties about those who found their way to the flocculent cathedral, but promptly squandered the riches that they brought back from the gloaming mire. And of other tales of how the gloaming mire reclaimed all the treasures before they could even go and spend it. Some of these songs make more sense than the others. Some of them rhyme more than the others. But you hear some of these verses, and as you hear these verses, what are notes that you take away from this, from your background of how you will prevent falling from these terrible fates? Saint who spilled the blood for me, laid in flocculent reverie, I seek your light now upon my brow, I would be your trophy now. They all start like, chain within his dank domain, all your relics are all I obtain, all your teachings I avow, I would be your trophy now. One of them bows, almost catching himself on fire in the fire. This foul entombment of your will, I would not see you slumber still. No quarter to what men allow. Take me as your trophy now. And they sing various other refrains.
I think that what I'm taking from this is disturb as little as possible. Step lightly and do not wake any of the dangers of the gloaming swamp.
Yeah,
Do
kind
not
of.
be loud and obnoxious.
Yeah, leave as minuscule as a footprint as possible. Get to where we need to go and get out. No dilly dallying and horseplay and stuff.
Anyone else strangely want to be a trophy right now?
You know what? Now you
Darkly
mention
so.
it. Darkly so.
Beans would like to be a trophy. I just checked.
Beans is.
What about you, Kel? Being a Fae background.
I really felt like it just was telling me that only the worthy is going to be able to find this.
Yeah.
And that's me. So
What other metric of worthiness is there other than hotness?
that's what I'm saying.
So after you wait for like another hour or so, the whole gang of them passes out. Instead of loud snores that usually accompany the drunken, there is more of a weird gurgle wheeze that they all make. It almost sounds like the sound of salamanders slithering upon each other, or the sounds of grubs awakening from a deep winter slumber. It is unsettling. But you can sneak past them if you so choose.
I do so choose.
Same.
Bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad, because for all I know, Valen could just go and then start marking them as they sleep. I don't know.
That's not a bad idea either.
Please don't.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not doing it, but if I say I do it, there's a chance they could wake up, but I can just headcanon that I did.
The goodest boy is already losing his goodest mind. Beyond this kind of clearing, the trail begins to wind and meander out of this large thicket of mangrove trees, and it begins to pass into an area of thick brambles and stunted trees with marshy soil. Good.
Oh, I was gonna say, I have the skill paths. Is there a way I could use that to see if I could find the through the brambles and everything, try to find the best path to get through it to keep going in the direction we're going?
That is a great thing to mention, because as you are looking at how these trails begin to snake off and kind of splinter into different like subpaths, you see that there are clouds of buzzing, biting, and stinging insects. So finding the right path may help you to avoid the worst of those. But if you choose the wrong one, that's going to imperil all of you. So I need you to make me a risk roll.
All right. So just the one die for the path skill, right?
Correct. If anyone wants to add Devil's Bargain, you can certainly do so. And you can always add a dark die if you so choose.
Yeah, you know what? I'll add a dark die just to
Spice
throw
it
it
up.
in there. Spice it up. All right. Nobody's going to throw in on this?
You know what? Yeah, I will.
Oh, damn it.
I will.
No, you don't have to take the bargain.
Yeah, you don't have to
can
take
always
this.
Oh, that's true.
But if you would like an extra light die, I will say that because you're trying to get through brambles, you will disturb some serpentine life within those brambles and get bitten. Now what that snake venom does, or if it is even venomous, is up to our delightful GM.
Flashbacks of Ronan. Got it.
I will, either way, I will be cutting your head off.
You know what? I'll take it. So that's 2 light dice and a dark.
Yep.
That is a 1 on the dark die, a 5, and a 4 on the light.
Okay. Do you like those results? It's not a leading question. You have the matrix on your sheet that shows you a 5 as you succeed, but there's a complication.
Oh yeah, there it is. I'll take the complication.
Okay. So the first thing is, since you took the bargain, it means that you were bitten by a snake. So you are looking at these various paths, trying to figure out. You had kind of taken this one path that went through the forest, and then it's this kind of opening up into a marsh, like more of a deep swamp, that it's getting to be confusing. And so you're so focused on these paths that a snake slithers out and just sinks its fangs into you. It latches on, like you feel that it's not just biting to like pump venom. It is trying to put its fangs as deeply as possible into your leg, and it is scraping its fangs against your bone, like etching it. When you rip it out, you notice, besides the gouting blood, that there is a cloud of tiny, bright crimson gnats that just hover above your throbbing wound. No matter what you do, you can't shake these gnats. They are just always hovering, buzzing above your leg.
So they didn't bite me in the peg leg. Got it. All right.
Oh, the forest is smarter than that. So
Okay.
you see that these paths, a lot of them just lead into sink pits. And so you find the path that takes you around and away from that, and you can lead your fellow companions away. But you do notice, though, that the stinging, biting clouds of insects seem to be thicker in the direction that is, well, from your path tending senses, is the safer route to take. You're going to be going straight into some gnarly clouds of biting, stinging insects.
All right, guys. It's either we got sinkholes over here that are bad news. A snake snakes around here somewhere threw them off. Or there's a cloud of biting gnats, as you can see by this wound on my leg. Some of these guys. Huge cloud over there. But it seems to be the path that's not towards sinkholes. So tread lightly and don't get bit as much as possible. And I will hobble on.
Are the rest of you following him?
I have a question.
Yes.
When it says I can bewitch a creature, how many gnats is that? Is that just one gnat, or is that a cloud of gnats?
It's a great question. How would you interpret that?
I mean, I would like to interpret it as the cloud of gnats.
I
Keep
second
in
it.
mind that there are multiple clouds, but you can
Oh.
certainly bewitch a group of gnats.
All right, I would like to try to bewitch a group of gnats. And the way my bewitch works is that it says they will follow a simple command if I give them a gift.
Absolutely. Also, that that thing on your face seems to be growing. What does it look like now?
So the vine branch has kind of expanded. It's now sticking out past my head, and there is something budding at the end of it. There's definitely some leaves coming in, but there's something else as well. Maybe a fruit?
As you are preparing your ritual, you hear something. It's not really with your ears, it's inside your skull. Wouldn't it be nice if you planted yourself in one of those sinkholes? You would be a mighty tree. The most beautiful tree.
Wow,
So
that
how do you do your ritual? Huh?
All right, so my ritual here, I am going to produce a gift that I think the gnats will enjoy, offer it to them, and then give them the command. It's going to be so what I'm giving them is actually one of my fingernails. Okay, they seem to be really drawn to things with blood on them, I've noticed. So I'm going to tear off one of my fingernails, which is clearly incredibly painful. And place it in the palm of my hand, and then bow deeply to the cloud of gnats and offer it to them.
I like that. If I could add one rule onto that, and this is again the code storytelling here, because we'd walk back one part of this. One thing that we haven't been really leaning into are ruin rolls. Which is like when you find something very disturbing or experience, some type of trauma, such as this. I'd say if you're interested in pushing that ruin factor, that snake bite and then ripping a nail off could invite a ruin roll. Would either of you be interested in kind of rewriting part of your scene, Kevin, and have you roll that and also her, or we can scrap that altogether?
I'll hold off, but I will keep it in mind.
Okay. Then go ahead and make your ritual check. From here on out, though, I will start reinforcing ruin rolls a little bit more tightly. Yeah. But go ahead and roll your ritual. So you have one white die. And
I wouldn't be opposed to doing a ruin roll for my vision back at the
See that? I was out of it right after that whole thing. I was like, I should have done that. And that's so.
Yeah. If you want to rewrite all, I would be happy to. I think it would be appropriate.
Are you okay if we pause your finger ripping out and do a quick retcon? So the ruin roll, you're rolling d6 with your dark die thematically, and you're testing it against what your current ruin is. If you roll higher than your current ruin, you gain a ruin and a condition.
I have gained a ruin.
All right. So you feel the forest itself just extending its shadows to envelop you. Roll me another d6, would you?
That is a 1.
All right. with those visions, you've seen all of that blood from Goodest Boy kind of splash over everything and gets replaced with a green haze. Colors wash out and everything has a patina of dull green. Anything already green looks verdant, almost glowing. All right, back to your...
I want to point out real quick that Moradi is wearing kind of faded verdigris armor with a flowing green cape. So it's like,
You are no longer intimidated by the beauty of Kel. Because you look fantastic, like you belong in the forest. Thank you, Kel, for your patience. So you are in the process of very slowly agonizing, ripping out this fingernail as all this is happening. Go ahead and you make your roll. That's going to be at least one light die and one dark die.
Right.
If anyone wants to offer a bargain, they can.
Sure. I'll add a die if some of those gnats that are going for that fingernail actually start to dig in under where the fingernail was ripped off into your finger itself. Like,
also, case in point, similarly, you could also offer to help if they feast on blood. You could offer some of that blood that's conveniently leaking out of your leg.
oh yeah, I'm not using that. Let's just do that. Let's. The fingernail thing got me creeped out, but yeah, I can.
Keep in mind, if the roll, you can get a chance of getting ruin if depending on what Kel rolls.
Okay. Yeah, I'll offer up some of the blood.
Okay.
From,
do you accept?
I will
Kel's...
accept some of the blood into my gift. For the...
Okay.
All right.
So Kel, you roll your light die, your dark die, and then Akale, you roll your one light die.
Right, I got a 5 and a 6.
Which was the
5 is light, 6 is dark.
Oh.
Yeah.
What did you roll, Akale?
I got a 1.
Okay. So the good news is that if you would have rolled a 6, so it would match the dark die, then you get a point of ruin and a condition, but you don't. You're perfectly fine. The gnats aren't so much interested in your blood as the fingernail. So you successfully gain control of this cloud of gnats, and I need you to roll me a d6, Kel.
That's a 1.
All right. So you get your 1 point of ruin. So you're raised 1. And your clothing and armor sprout a coat of reddish tendrils, soft to the touch and swaying to an unseen breeze. The plant is spreading across you.
Oh.
That's less than ideal. You're aware of that, right? It's not. This is not great.
But I think I carry it well.
I agree to disagree.
I don't know. I still think you look fabulous.
Oh,
I'm pulling it
Yeah,
off.
good
What can I
taste.
say?
I was out to sea for a very long time, okay?
I will agree that Kel does look better than Manatee.
I don't know about that.
So the command I've given to the gnats, by the way, is to spread a rumor to the other gnats that there's a snake that tastes way better than anything we've got. I'm hoping that will shift them off of our path and towards the snake.
So, at first, your cloud of gnats kind of coalesces into a ball and then puffs back out into a cloud and disperses towards all the other packs of stinging, flying insects. one of the packs of flying insects goes over and it hovers right around the cod piece of Valen before seeing the snake still slithering in the undergrowth, and it goes and it just wraps around that snake. The other clouds of insects then buzz over until this entire snake is covered in a 2-inch layer of gnats and other flying things, and it takes the snake and flies off with it. You hear in the distance unsettling slurping and crunching sounds.
You're all
I hate
welcome.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
After the first thing you notice after you hear that terrible slurping crunching sound is that it is now quiet here. You didn't realize before the absolute din and drone of this place, the absolute susurrus of all these insects, and now you're replaced with what sounds to be in the distance like a little bit of like thunder, maybe like a roaring river or something else.
Mm-mm.
Can we investigate the river or give a sniff? I feel like all I'm doing is smelling things, and I
That's
want to
good.
do
That's
something
good.
else, but I can't think of anything.
Well, you have commands, ferocity, and presence, and transformation as your skills. It may just be that those are best reserved for when there's other people to interact with. So if you
Yeah.
want to follow your nose and kind
yeah.
of you have a path that Accolade has kind of found that is going to be a safe route, especially now that those insects have been mostly dealt with. So you could take point.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a type of dog, a pointer.
If you or so choose, since you are smelling, beyond the smell of the river, you do smell somewhere in the distance what smells like maybe like an old campsite. You can smell some type of animal musk and people scents in the distance.
Ooh,
You could
yes,
pursue that instead.
that does sound delightful. I look back at everybody like, you guys want to go? You guys want to go that way? It smells really good over there, guys.
Good how?
Smells.
Yeah. What do you smell?
Oh, so okay. I'm pretty sure they ate sausages with cabbage. I'm also pretty sure that they were there for, they had a fire. I could smell the fire. I could smell that. I'm also pretty sure that one of them was wearing Clubman aftershave. I don't even know how you get that here. I didn't know that was still in production. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that the other one yeah, that's Old Spice. Anyways. That way.
I'm not sure that what we want to do is come in contact with other treasure seekers.
Oh.
That sounds foolhardy and dangerous.
Okay. They smelled like they could be friends.
We are your friends.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And other people will try to hurt us. You don't want them to hurt your friends, do
Absolutely
you?
not. No, we don't want that. We don't want that at all.
Mm-mm.
It's bad.
No.
It's bad.
Yes, very. So let's instead use that nose to avoid others until we're out of the forest.
Now, you could either talk out what you want to do. If at any point you want to come to loggerheads, you could resolve it through contested roles.
I think I've been swayed.
I know what dogs like.
Snoring.
It's true.
Yeah, sitting on my knee and snoring. sidebar, Beans got to see her aunt today.
Oh,
Hmm.
Nice.
Which,
the queen bee.
The woman who got us beans was in town.
Oh,
So
nice.
we
how lovely.
got to meet up with her, and she got to see her old friend. Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Thank you. She's so sleepy. Okay, back to Snoresville.
So, what about you, Kel and Akale? Do you want to head towards the sound of running water or towards the smells of a campsite?
I would say running water. I don't want to encounter others.
Same.
Okay. So, as you begin to trumble in that direction, the ground gets more squishy and spongy, and water begins to kind of pool in after every step that you take. When you pass through the undergrowth, there is a squirming carpet of centipedes and millipedes that come out as you disturb the ground, almost attracted to the sounds of your boots squelching. In fact, they begin to burrow through your boots and they begin to bite and sting at your feet. I need the lot of you to roll me a ruin check.
All of us, or just Kel and
Everyone.
That's 2d6. That's my
It's
first
one
one.
1d6?
It's 1d6, and if you roll higher than your current ruin, then you increase your ruin by 1 and get a condition.
I get a condition.
Oh
Okay,
no!
so you increase your ruin by 1 and roll me a d6.
4.
Those same weird tendrils that are growing so lovingly over Kel are beginning to sprout from your armor. They've kind of wormed their way into your hair, and you can't tell what is your excessive body hair and what are tendrils of the forest.
Don't like that.
I don't know. It doesn't look as good on him.
No, it doesn't.
It looks just fine, actually.
It's in my armor. Correct? You said armor?
Your clothing and armor spout a coat of reddish tendrils. I just imagine that hair sticking out of everything.
I mean, I can fix this real quick. Because, just how late at night is it?
You don't think it's night yet, but you feel an itching coming on your palms.
I will remind you, sir, that we did wait out the drunken bandits while they fell asleep.
That's a good point. Let me put one pin in that, if I may, and just see who else failed their ruin roll, and then we'll get back to you. Who else failed their ruin roll?
I did not.
I did.
All right. Akale, roll me a d6.
Absolutely. That's a 4.
Everyone's rolling 4s.
I can re-roll it if you want.
I rolled a 1.
Did you fail your ruin roll? Okay. All right. So for you, the go ahead and re-roll, unless you want the tendrils. I think.
I got a 5 that time. Let's go with 5.
Okay. So you're not sure how many of the centipedes are inside your boots, but you hear a wet sound like maggots feasting on a corpse. You hear a wet sound like maggots feasting on a corpse if you come within an arm's reach of your companions.
Gross.
Yeah.
So as you're standing here, these centipedes and millipedes are just swarming, just coming out of the bogs, just chewing at your ankles, and it is absolutely disturbing. Getting back to the pin in Valen, do you perceive that this is nighttime?
I would like John was saying, we waited out some drunk people. So yeah,
Right.
I feel like it should be nighttime, and if my armor and boots are getting infested, I can just transform into a Lon Chaney Jr. and then not have to worry about armor and or boots.
Are your companions familiar with this aspect of your personality?
I mean, it's never come up in conversation, but I feel like in their hearts they've known this.
Fuck you.
We always hoped you did.
So two things. I need to know, what does it look like when you do this transformation? And since it is a skill, I'm going to have you roll it as a risk roll.
Okay.
And then, let's do that one step at a time. So go ahead
right.
and roll me your risk roll.
Risk roll. That's 2. Yes.
So it's 1 die because of your skill. And then I'm going to say you're going to roll a light die and a dark die since you're transforming.
Okay.
I will give you a devil's bargain. That is, if you transform and shed all of your armor and gear, it's going to fall in one of the swamp pits and be irretrievable.
I have a devil's bargain as well.
Okay.
My devil's bargain is that your transformation is not normal, and instead of fur, you sprout brambles and become a vegetation-esque brambly, I assume werewolf type thing, but
more swamp thing.
More swamp thing than wolf.
Ah, man. That's tough.
Again, you don't have to take it.
I don't have to take it. I kind of like it. I kind of am appalled by it. Like, that's a good devil's bargain.
It looks totally badass.
Yeah,
Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
I mean, the purpose of transforming is so that I don't have to be brambly. You know what? I'm gonna heads or tails it. Tails. I'm dropping the armor into the abyss. Heads was the brambles. I'm sorry, John.
It's okay. It's okay.
You feel some disappointment radiating through your bones that you didn't accept the forest's invitation. And you have this uncomfortable feeling that it'll force itself upon you instead, since you didn't choose it willingly. There's a quick, like a little montage. What does your transformation look like? And is it horrifying to your companions? Like, is it grisly? Or is it like Ultra Beast?
It's not as quick as modern werewolf movies would make you think. First, anyone that would be watching this in the theater of mind, a grainy film, like moving like 1930s movies, as the camera zooms into his face and what was already hairy, he then starts to kind of, snarl a little bit, and his nose/snout area elongate. Basically, like I already said, Lon Chaney Jr., the Wolf Man. Imagine that, but instead of Lon Chaney Jr., why does Danny DeVito come to my mind? I don't know why. I haven't mentioned that at all. It has
Danny DeVito werewolf is very good werewolf.
Yeah, I would love that werewolf.
I need that in my life.
Yeah, it hasn't been my head again until now, but now it has to be.
Yeah.
I love it. As a quick aside, Kel, on your character sheet for your sever ability, did you see where that link directs you?
For my sever ability?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Okay. All right.
I
So
see where it does now.
You're
Okay.
welcome. For the player at home, I sometimes like to add in little Easter eggs into my pre-gens. And so for the ritual for Kel, which is sever, you can detach and reattach a body part and still control while removed. The song Detachable Penis.
A classic hit. It is.
Oh, King Missile.
Yeah.
Yep. So I've been waiting to do that all week. So you, sorry, did you say it was horrifying or not horrifying, this process for people to witness?
Me?
The reason why I ask is people who are witnessing your transformation, if it is very grisly and horrible in general, then that would be another ruin roll. People who are not watching this are spared from the psychological trauma.
I mean, by today's standards, not that horrifying at all. But, you know, if you watched it when it first aired, then it would be the most terrifying thing. So, you know, 6.5 dozen of the other. I don't know how that expression actually ever worked.
And I will leave that into Moradi and Acolyte if they want to roll an optional ruin roll for witnessing. To you. Only if you want.
Yeah. No, I think it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we see this because I think the assumption is like, oh shit, he has fallen to the forest, right?
Well, actually, that's a very good point. If he just randomly did that, I would be terrified. So,
yeah. Just to let you know, I failed my ruin roll.
And wait, your current ruin is?
My current ruin is 4.
Okay, so you move to 5.
No. Sorry, no, I moved to 4 as I failed.
Okay. You were not at 5.
And I rolled a. There we go. I was trying to roll one. I was trying to roll not 4. I rolled a 6 for my condition.
All right. As you recoil in horror, you feel something sticky between your fingers and your toes. Sticky spider webs populated with tiny, barely discernible dark green spiders sprout between your digits. And you, Alkali?
Oh, I failed.
All right.
So I'm at 4 now.
All right. Go ahead and roll me a d6.
It's 5 again.
5 again.
Yeah, that
All
was
right.
the hearing the maggots.
I'm just going to change it.
Okay.
Every step that you take feels as if something viscous and lukewarm is squeezing between the toes of your left foot. Which is also the sorry, is your peg leg your right or your left foot?
It's gonna be my left.
All right, so it's your
That's the way I
right foot.
pictured it. Oh, the
Okay.
one that got bit. Okay.
Or actually, you feel like your peg is beginning to succumb to the rot of this place. How about that?
I don't like it, but I'm gonna go with it.
It is covered in moss that seems to be snaking up your leg.
All right.
All right. So, you have been besieged by these insects. Your companion turns into some type of shaggy worst boy and loses all of his gear and is just standing in all this hairy glory. And at that transformation, the energy that is released from that spooks all of that carpet of biting insects, leaving the trail clear. And you know from your pathfinding and this water sense accolade that this would take you straight to that water feature.
Perfect. Water's that way. You're terrifying. Still a good boy.
Yeah, I'm putting myself between him and the rest of the party and like raise up my shield. I still assume you are a horrifying monster that has fallen to the forest.
My tail's wagging.
Do you still talk normally as you're transformed?
That's an excellent question. So the accent has changed. It's deeper now. It's just like
More
hey,
Danny DeVito-ish.
yeah. Hey guys, it's me, your friend. the good boy. Waka waka. Why? No.
I don't think I can approve of that one.
I don't think I can approve of it, and I said it.
So the path that you are on leads to a cold waterfall that is thundering into a large pool. The air around here is particularly cool and damp. The water in the pool is tinted a dull green, except to your eyes, Moradi, it is bright, vivid green. Inside the pool, there are things crawling inside of it. More peculiar is that you see that this path goes up the rock wall from where the waterfall is cascading, and on top of it, there is a shrine.
Hmm.
We must be getting close.
Yeah, I mean, you people know this religion. The shrines usually lead to cathedrals.
People leave treasure at shrine.
Waka waka.
Fucking swear. I fucking swear.
I was looking at John's camera, and I thought John was doing his deep guttural voice, and then I realized they were not moving synchronously, and I was like, I guess I should make a ruin roll. Like, that was terrifying.
My demon voice can cause ruin in some people. Ruined underpants because it's so sexy.
I was right there. I understood.
Jeez. All right, yeah, I think we should go. We should go to that shrine.
You go check out the shrine.
I think so.
Great. And this will be our last scene here before we kind of pause in the middle of your excursion through this gloaming mire. The shrine that you come across is dominated in the center of it by an effigy of one of the saints, the sisters, now that you're kind of getting a better view of it in the flesh, that you saw in your vision, Moradi. And you see it in much more vivid detail here. You notice that this woman, this figure, is a patron saint of your background related to the church that you were defrocked from. Who is this figure?
She is Samanthuel, the ever bleeding.
Okay.
She is the patron saint of getting 2 periods in February.
Yeah.
Which is apparently a goddamn thing.
And what does that make her look like? How has her effigy been represented?
fucking super angry. No, she, like, jokes aside, she is the patron of, like, menstruation and women's wrath, and so she does look very angry. She holds a dagger overhead in one hand and a box of chocolates in the other hand. But her face is lined in like hard, hateful lines. And her statue is drenched in red lichen.
Ooh, I love that.
Ooh.
Great. So, lastly, as we kind of put a pause into this for the evening, you look beyond where the river is flowing upstream, and you see that there is a path that has been beaten into the ground. It looks more solid up here than this squishy mire below. And in the distance, and even though it is still dark, you can see that there are more of these shrines that dot this road as it winds towards, well, like you're saying, the flocculent cathedral.
Ah.
Neat. Friends, we will be back next week to finish this excursion and visit upon all the glorious deaths that are coming on their way. I love this system so much, y'all.
This
I'm
is
so
really
excited
cool.
to be playing it, and it's so this is the first time I've gone to actually play it other than just read it, and it's everything I hoped it would be.
I'll take this as a compliment.
Aided, of course, by our fantastic GM Ian, his
Thank you.
descriptive powers.
Tromble.
Tromble.
Baby. Just a couple of quick notes. If you are in Central Texas, this weekend, starting on the 15th in San Antonio, Bridget and I will be at Ghoulish Book Festival. And there's a whole slew of kick-ass authors, like Daniel Krauss is going to be there, Wiley E. Young, Wesley Southern, Max Booth,
Jessica McHugh.
Jessica McFucking I'm so stoked to finally meet her in person. She did the blurb for All I Want Is to Take Shrooms and Listen to the Colored Nazi Screams. She is the poet I wish I was. She's incredible. Shane McKenzie's going to be there. Lucas Mangum's going to be there. Jeff Strand, Bridget Nelson, Michael Allen Rose, who is not someone who comes to Texas often. Like, half of these people are not common visitors to Texas. So, like, if you can make it, please do. The bookshop section of the festival is free entry to anyone who comes in. But if you do have a badge, there might be some discounts at the bookstore. On that same note, there's going to be a mass market signing, so lots of opportunities to meet some really cool authors and get some cool ass books. Ian.
So, speaking of cons of which you can meet our illustrious cast, this weekend, or the
If
following...
you say Hoosier Con, I'm going to fight you.
So the last weekend in March is Hoosier Con, and
Motherfucker.
you can... What's wrong with Hoosier Con? You can meet Bridget and myself. I'll be running a handful of games, including a playtest for Philip Jensen, who did Trapped Within, and then I played test for Alexi, who did Liminal Space.
And Red Room from Madness Heart Games.
That is correct. So there may be additional play tests in case you want to be part of a game and give feedback to game creators. That is an option. So come see us.
Come do the thing.
And come fight me, John.
I'm fucking gonna.
He's been mad since he figured out that it's said Hoosier Con.
Oh yeah, it is purely the name of the thing that enrages me.
For people who are unfamiliar, residents of the state of Indiana of the United States are called Hoosiers, Hoosiers, and this is Hoosier as in WHO''SYERCON. So it's a pun. Just for our international people.
And then, my friends, in April, there is the Staple Mixed Media Convention for games, comics, all indie. It's really incredible. It's going to be amazing. Both Nate Southard and I are going to be there. We're running a panel on indie game design, and it's going to be rad. So if you're in Texas or Indiana, come to those two cons, check us out, shake our hands, let us know that we have listeners other than Charles's mom, not Patrick's mom.
She wouldn't listen to
calls for
anything I
no-
did.
Yeah, no, fuck that
I'm
lady.
thankful my mom has never listened because then I wouldn't have to explain things. So
I actually send your mom a USB stick with all the episodes on them every week. But I don't label them. I just send her mysterious USB sticks.
And it's always every episode, so every time it's complete catalog.
With one extra every week.
Yeah, every time. On that note, a special thanks to Bog Wizard, which provides our intro and outro music. This week, that song is Purple Miasmic Smoke from their note. The song is Barbaria from the album Purple Miasmic Smoke. You should check them out. They kick ass. Link is in the show notes or the YouTube description. By the way, subscribe or at least follow us on Twitch. Subscribe and hit the bell for YouTube. And leave reviews if you like what we do. It really helps the algorithm kick us out and get us in front of other people who might also like what we do. We will be back next week. Good, that feels good to say once more. To finish up our death in the forest, not space, but the forest. Until then, if you feel like you cannot wait, do what Kevin's doing and check out the backlog because we've played a lot of cool ass games. See you next week, everyone.